Hello, my friends. Hello. I'm Jeremy Webb, Neptune's artistic director, and we are live and back with another edition of Off the Leash. This is Neptune's way during this COVID-19 pandemic of staying in touch with you and keeping you abreast of what's going on in our world and just staying in touch and hopefully occasionally raising a smile and getting to connect with artists that have either been at Neptune or that we'd like to have at Neptune again, and just really listening. And before we begin and bring on our wonderful guest, Malia Rogers from the cast of the Argyle Street Kitchen Party, I did just want to briefly take a pause for a second and acknowledge the fact that with all that is going on in the world right now for the last couple of weeks, since George Floyd's brutal murder at the hands of a police officer, at the knee of a police officer, we are all now in a period, I'm sure you are as well, of self-analytical reflection. We are studying our place in this damaged society, and I am acknowledging, and Neptune Theatre too is acknowledging our place and how we have contributed to systemic racism by our existence, by our the work we do, and by the work we haven't done. And that's, for me, what this time period is now. I've heard it said a couple of times in the last few days how this issue, this major, life-changing, drastic issue wouldn't be so in the media and so all over your social media if we weren't all in a period of isolation. And I think that is sadly the truth. I know that I have entered a period of education during this time, and all of us at Neptune are now working hard on this, and we will update and we will keep in touch. We will make our allyship non-performative, and we will do all we can to make space for Black and Indigenous voices at this time. This show, I must admit, for a while over the last week, I've been really ruminating on whether me hosting this show 4 nights a week, a show that started out as a light, fluffy puff piece for all of us to keep in touch with just what's going on at Neptune, whether there's a place for that. And to be honest, I still don't know. We're continuing with our scheduled programming this week. We do have one new guest later in the week, which I'll tell you about in a second. So we're going to proceed. We actually only had a few more weeks probably left of the show, but I do want to get your input. If there are some guests that you would like to see, specific artists, we'd love to have them on. We have a bunch that we would like to have on and talk to. So stick with us, and we will continue at Neptune Theatre to use our platform as much as we can as we work on this, like many of you are. There's a couple of things I also just want to share, bits of news. One thing, I'm going to half read this just because I don't want to miss anything out, but one thing that came up over the last weekend was the Stratford Festival turned over their social media to members of their company, people of color, artists of color, and allowed them the space of their social media to share their stories and what goes on behind the curtain. It culminated, one of the things it culminated in, it was a 2-hour panel discussion, which I recommend you all watch. I don't have the link. I can't post the link here, but I can put it in the comments afterwards. I also just encourage you to go to the Stratford Festival social media and look it up. It was called Black Like Me, Past, Present, and Future, Behind the Stratford Festival Curtain. It really is a starting point for them, and actually for all of us. The thing that came out of some of their posts was some conversation about the practice in theater of something called as cast, where an actor receives a contract that may detail some roles, for those of you that don't know, and then there's also a sort of a catch-all phrase at the end, / as cast, meaning that at any point an extra role could be added. And to be honest, this is usually done for financial reasons or for reasons of non-committal, in case you need to add an extra a line of text here and you need someone to play. So I'm just going to read a bit of this. Neptune Theatre has decided to stop using the as cast designation in casting productions. This practice allows a director or theater to add to an actor's workload with additional roles in a show where they were designated as cast. And we recognize that this practice, as laid out in clause 3509 of the Canadian Theatre Agreement, whilst common practice, does open an artist up to the possibility of playing a role that they do not wish to take on. And this can be particularly damaging for racialized and marginalized artists who may feel obligated to accept problematic or traumatic roles for fear of career-damaging repercussions. Now, by pledging to avoid this contractual title, Neptune Theatre is asking directors to do a little extra work prior to casting decisions and contractual negotiations. It's a little extra work. No artist should feel pressured to portray a role that they do not wish to play. Artists should not find themselves surprised by a request from a director or a theater to play an additional role. And we don't want to stifle the creative process. But we think that by removing as cast as a possibility for us at this time and on the go forward from now, we believe that the artist now has a say at the appropriate time about the addition of extra roles. We're gonna post that at some point in the next day or so. If you want a copy of this statement, feel free to reach out, but it'll be probably on our social media. Thanks for listening to that. I also just want to give a couple of congratulations to some people who I consider members of our family. Deanna Choi was just awarded the 2020 Pauline McGibbon Award. For those of you that don't know, and I didn't know anything about it until today when I read this, it's part of the Dora Mae Vermont Awards in Toronto. She has won an award. Deanna did the sound design for our wonderful production, a fun production of Cinderella. So Deanna, I just wanted to say congratulations for that award. They have recognized your excellence. Deanna's worked at Soul Pepper, Tarragon, Coal Mine Theatre, Crows Theatre, Factory, Theatre Passe Muraille, the Shore Festival, Stratford Festival, Grand Theatre, Thousand Islands, and she's also worked at Neptune, it says here, and Theatre New Brunswick, Prairie Theatre Exchange. She's been everywhere, and that explains why it's so difficult to book her for another gig. One of the really cool things that I was looking forward to about our production of Billy Elliot was having Deanna back in the building. And sadly, that didn't happen. As you know, that production has been postponed due to COVID-19. But I just want to offer her our congratulations. And also our artistic associate and good friend, director, choreographer Ray Hogg has just announced on Sunday that he's starting his own company, Prime Movers Theatre Company. And Ray's actually agreed to come onto the show on Friday to tell us all about that company, the philosophy, what it's going to be doing, and we'll hear so much more from Ray. I know what the company's doing, and I got to say, I've been mining Ray's wealth of knowledge of artists across the country for the last couple of years, ever since I had the pleasure of being directed by him back in 2014, I think it was. So I look forward to chatting with Ray then. Just want to remind you, before we bring in our guest to hear some music and to chat with Malia Rogers, about some of the other guests we have this week. Tomorrow night, we are... Oh, let me just remove that banner. I'm so bad at these button pressing. See, you see me looking like this? I am looking for buttons all the time. Sorry, Ray. Get rid of you. Okay. So tomorrow night, I've been looking forward to this for a couple of weeks since we had him booked. We welcome to Off the Leash a one-on-one evening with Walter Borden, the iconic Walter Borden, who has been in more Neptune plays than I've had hot dinners. And I can't wait to chat to him. We had a chat yesterday, and essentially we should have been recording the show, the conversation, because it was so much fun. On Thursday, we are joined by John Dinning, a stunning set designer who has been at Neptune numerous times and worked across the country. He's going to talk to us about his process. And as I said, on Friday, we have Ray coming in. So, all that said, that was probably the longest intro I've ever done. And I will promise now to stop talking for the rest of the evening. Please join me in welcoming to the live stream the wonderfully talented Malia Rogers. Hi, Malia.
Hi. Hey.
I'm sorry I kept you waiting so long, but there was a lot I wanted to say.
No, I want to express gratitude for everything that you did share, especially what you shared around Neptune as cast. I think that's an amazing step, and I hope that that's something that other theaters adopt. Also, please don't stop talking for the rest of the episode, or this will be a really boring interview.
No. You have to sing, and you have to talk a little bit, because we want to know a little bit about you. Right. People comment and ask questions during this. If you have any questions at any point, please feel free to ask them, folks of Malia. It's great to have people here watching. So Malia, why don't we start off with a song? And Absolutely. That way we'll also get to check our technical setup and make sure we're not crackling.
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you so much. You going to tell us a little bit about it, or?
I will, yeah. So just in kind of the same vein as what Jeremy was sharing at the beginning of the show in relation to everything that's been going on in the world recently, I know that Jeremy and myself and Neptune and everybody I know is in a moment of taking a hard look at themselves and how they are in the world, and whether there are things that we can do better as people to be more inclusive and to bring our solidarity into action. So there's a song that I wrote a couple of weeks ago that was a study of authority and leadership, and the difference between them, and questioning one and respecting the other. And I wrote it initially in the context of the coronavirus pandemic, and watching how that has played out in different spheres. But it's become something that is more of a self-reflection now, and a look at who I am. And I think it's a song that every time I play it now, I will try to recommit to myself the things that I've been committing to myself over the last few days.
I thank you for that amazing intro. We've had one message, maybe a relation.
Oh, that's Mom. Okay.
That's Mom. So Mom says, turn up the volume. Now, to me, I can hear you if I turn up my volume on my computer, but it may be that she just wants you to crank it up.
Well, I will try, but the louder I turn it up, the more I deafen myself.
So don't do that.
I'll turn it up a little bit. I'll try.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Hopefully that's better. If not, please put your computer on blast, Mom. Love you.
I'm going to leave you to the screen.
Okay. This song is called Shape of My Trust. Do your actions match your words? Do you check the facts before telling what you've heard? Do you punch down when the going gets hard? Do your policies change when the fire's in your yard? Do your policies change when the fire's in your yard? Do you know success to be measured by gain? Do you bite your tongue when you want them all to feel your pain? Do you take self-hatred and call it drive? If my words make you angry, will you figure out why? If my words make you angry, will you figure out why? Do you cry when the cameras are off at the end of the day? Do you hold vigil for the people you've lost along the way? Oh, and when your moment has passed, as it someday must, will I have made a mistake in the shape of my trust? Have I made a mistake in the shape of my trust? Have I made a mistake in the shape of my trust?
Wow. I feel like I want to have a sound effect of applause, or actually kind of felt like I was in a bar, just sort of listening to it, and all eyes turned to you. Just so you know, Malia, so when you watch this back, we were getting a little of the crackling that you and I were talking about before. It only came in a little bit, so we'll see what happens.
I was noticing that in your intro a little bit as well, but it was just like very, very tiny, and I don't know if we can do anything.
So let's hang tight. Let's hang on. Thank you for being here today. It's so wonderful to see you again, and to have you sharing some of your music. And we have a question here, which I think is actually a great leading question. Katerina, she's been listening to you on Spotify all week, which now everyone is going to go and do. You're so talented. We knew that as well. What's your songwriting process like?
Okay, first off, hi, Katerina. Love you. Me and Katerina like kind of grew up together family-wise.
Right.
So that's really, really lovely to hear. My songwriting process it's a bit random, actually. Like, I do a lot of journaling, and I'm a very reflexive person in my everyday life. I've been writing journals since I was 13 years old. So a lot of the time, I'll actually kind of go back to those journals and look at spaces that were really poignant in my life, and pick out phrasing and things from there. But most of the time, I write sort of when I'm stressed, or when I'm sad, or when I have something in my own life that I need to self-soothe about, or I need to talk myself through. And when that happens, it's kind of torrential. Like, I usually write words and music to a song within 15 or 20 minutes, or it never gets done. And my that's kind of the process. It's all or nothing. Like, I have my notepad on my voice recorder on my phone are just like full of unfinished things that will never be done.
Yeah. I think a lot of creative people have that issue. I know I've got a drawer with about 6 or 7 plays. Probably about 6 of them should never see the light of day. There might be one in there. I suppose I should be using this time to dig them out, but there we go. Yeah, maybe not.
serious on its own.
No, I think I got there's enough. I got enough going on right now. So, thank you for that. What is your next song? Let's have another song.
Yeah, sure. So there's a bit of a story behind this one. Back when the entire world started shutting down, like March 12th, 13th, 14th, I think maybe the week immediately after, a theater company that I had never worked with before called Convergence Theatre here in Toronto put a post out on a theater classified where they were creating work based on stimulus from people who would call in or write emails, like COVID confessions.
Right.
So they would confess how the experience of quarantine had been for them, and it was a process of commissioning artists to then create work based on that. And one of the confessions that I was sent just really hit me quite hard, because it was kind of as if I had written it. It was about feeling so married to everything that you do in the scope of your daily life, that you know, make money through, or that you consider parts of your identity, but basing it around like your work and what you do. And the question inside of the confession was really like, when the world stops, right? When everything around you grinds to a total halt, what do you hear? And what have you maybe been missing? So I thought that was so inspiring and so touching, and I ended up writing a song called Still that I would like to share with you now.
Thank you.
I'm still awake and filled with hatred for the dust on the floor. I could punch the windows out of myself. I could burn the whole house down. I sit in the dark, in the not, in the empty, and I listen to my blood, and I grieve the things I loved. But the sun, it rises, and the seedlings find it. I can hear you loud and clear in this expanse of silence. Put your roots back in the dirt, 'cause the earth can take it. I can always take it. The smell of the rain makes me ache for my younger years, and I feel like the train's full of no one, but still going like it's nothing. But the sun, it rises, and the seedlings find it. I can hear you loud and clear in this expanse of silence. Put your roots back in the dirt, 'cause the earth can take it. I can always take it. Time stretches out ahead and disappears behind. Edges undefined, no signs up ahead. So I'll live in this instead. 'Cause the sun, it rises, and the seedlings find it. I can hear you loud and clear in this expanse of silence. Put my roots back in the dirt, 'cause the earth can take it. Yeah, the earth can take it, and I can take it.
Thank you. I'm sitting here sort of transfixed and listening to the music, and at the same time I'm like, I should have my finger on the button because I don't know that when the song's going to end, but it feels really weird. I'm literally sitting here like this. Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thanks.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm really proud to say that I haven't recorded music for a very long time until this song. So it was kind of like a reopening of something that I hadn't done in a really long time, and I learned how to record by myself in my apartment on the 16th floor of an apartment building in Toronto beside a train station.
Wow.
Yeah, you can actually hear the train in the recording, but I placed it in like
Yeah,
somewhere that's good. It's an
that's great.
artistic choice.
Do you have do you have understanding? Have you got thick floors and ceilings? Are there people above you as well?
We're pretty lucky. Our building is predominantly concrete, but I actually did like my partner sacrificed some closet space and I carved out a little nook in there.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Tell me what this photo makes you remember. Tell me about this. What's going on here? Or in
Oh man.
fact, here, or here,
hmm
or
Well,
there. Look at that. Everyone's so involved. What's that? I know what that is.
two of those are pretty contorted concentration faces that like but
Sorry.
in all of through all of them, it's the word is joy, and that's the word that I always use when I describe any involvement with the Argyle Street Kitchen Party. Uh, in all of those pictures, it's just light and happiness and joy and a sense of community and family and like total comfort with everybody on that stage and just a feeling that like all of these people have my back, so I can 100% be who I am. I can make the most screwed up faces I want to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to mention that those photos were all taken by our friend Stu Metz,
Mm-hmm.
and they also feature Ian Sherwood, Karen Lizotte, and Celia Keown. It's the cast of the Argyle Street Kitchen Party. And
A group of completely phenomenal people.
yeah, yeah, it's a fun sociable show. What did it mean to you when it came to you?
When the show came to me,
Yeah.
it meant a lot. It was so I think Kitchen Party kind of arrived when I was in a place that I did not know what was next for me in so many senses. And like, it was such a great affirmation that things that you do in your life that you're not really sure why you do them, but you do them because they interest you and they bring you joy, end up bringing you to a place that you could never expect.
Right.
Like, there are things that I can point to in the years prior that directly gave me the skills and the confidence that I needed to even be considered for that show.
Oh my
Like
goodness,
there
you were
was no
talking. I was on the other side of the table with Ian Sherwood, and of course you were. As soon as you came in, we were like, "Wow, she's got to be in the show." Yeah, yeah,
I think the most memorable part of that audition for me was so I came in and we each had like 5 minutes to wow the judges. So we all brought like our whole apartments on our backs. Everybody
yeah.
in that audition room had like 7 instruments with them. Um, and one of the things I played on guitar was Sunny's Dream. And there was a moment when Ian like looked at me and he's like, "Can you harmonize?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he took the guitar and he tuned it down like a couple semitones and he played Sunny's Dream in his key and was like, "Harmonize on top." And like that is that is the thing that I do. If there's one good thing that I the one thing that I feel really confident with all of the time,
Yeah.
it's harmonizing to other people. So it was just like it was the first time that I got to sing with Ian, uh, and it
Yeah.
was amazing.
Right. I remember that. I think you did that with a few people, and I got to say, as someone that used to perform until a couple of years ago, so and I've done musicals, but I am not a musical theater performer. I'm an actor that fakes it a lot, or I used to. If somebody said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, right. Give me 2 hours with a skilled musical director with a lot of patience and hitting the notes I'm meant to hit. That's where I am. I've got a few messages coming in. This one from somebody you will recognize the name of
Yay! Hi,
and the place
Bob.
of, actually. Hi, Bob. Bob
Oh,
saw the show I think more than me even over the couple of
yeah,
years.
Bob is like an archive of the Kitchen Party at this point. Like you could do all of our parts.
Yeah. Hi, Karen. And
Thank
we've
you.
got Heather and
Gosh, thank you all for tuning in.
yeah, this is a quick question before we get you to do another song.
Mm-hmm.
What was the most interesting place you did the kitchen party?
Oh
I know
man.
we had you do it in a couple of weird locations at different times.
Mm-hmm. Well, not weird. I think they were all really delightful. One
All
of
right, and not the theater stage.
yeah. So one of the I think probably the most like to me the most beautiful place that we did the Kitchen Party show was the Chester Playhouse. Just like architecturally and sound wise and just like I had never really been to Chester before, except for maybe once, and it was just like it was such a beautiful place to bring a show like that.
Yeah.
And as well, bringing it to Mabu in
Oh
Cape
yeah.
Breton was unbelievable, because of course, like that's, that the beating heart of our show lives in places like Mabu. So
Yeah.
being there, it almost felt like imposter syndrome.
Right.
Honestly, yeah.
That's so cute. And of course, I know that it meant a lot to all of you because each time we've done that show, we've had Heather Rankin as a guest.
Yeah.
And of course, we talk about the beating heart of music and Atlantic Canadian music.
Mm-hmm.
You got to talk about the Rankins. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, what was it like suddenly finding yourself on stage with people and singing along, joining people like Lenny Gallant and Heather Rankin?
Completely surreal.
Yeah.
Completely 100% surreal. Like, I had to actually kind of block off how surreal it was so that I wouldn't just freak out on stage.
Yeah.
There are definitely times too when we had guests that I didn't even anticipate, like, sort of touch me with their music the way that they did, and
Mm.
like there were, moments with like Tomato and T Thomason
Yeah.
where I really just had to like hold back my sense of awe and exasperation so that I could continue being a performer in the show.
Yeah. There were a number of times when I saw you all performing with these people, the people you mentioned, all the guest stars we had over the years, where I would start to get emotional because I could tell the four of you were like, we're singing with Lenny,
Yeah.
or T. Thomason is like killing it right now, and we're there.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it was very cool. Very
Mm-hmm.
cool.
I agree.
What are you going to sing for us next?
Oh wow. I think I'm gonna sing one of my slightly older songs. This song is called Letters,
Right.
and it's from a very ancient recording that I did back in like 2015, when I was 18 and I rented a friend's basement. And it's a song about fear around leaving home and around things not being the same when you get back, or people, not really feeling like they know you anymore, or you feeling like you don't know them. But I think, art is subjective and music is subjective. And in this context, the lyrics of this song actually sound a lot more like conversations I have with my family, being distanced from them during COVID-19. So maybe it'll resonate with you too. This song is called Letters. I slept okay for once last night, babe. I dreamed that you were there beside me. Your arms across my back, warm breath upon my neck. Yeah, we slept fine. Woke up in another cold hotel room, just hoping I make it back to you soon. Losing track of my time zones, I would call but I don't know. Is it midnight or is it noon? I guess all I wanted to say is I wish you were here. And I think about you every day. Yeah, I wish you were here. Did you get the letter that I sent you? It'd mean a lot if you'd write one back too. I tried to call again last night, but who could blame you for getting tired of waiting up? Oh, and I have finally made a couple of good friends. I hope someday you'll get to meet them. I planned on coming home today, but if you don't mind it, I might just stay a few weeks more. And I know we haven't been in touch, but I wish you were here. Just a word or two would mean so much. Yeah, I wish you were here. last night, babe. This time you didn't recognize me. You look the same as you always do, except those eyes, they looked right through me, like they never have. Oh, and I just wish you'd say it before your friends do. They all go quiet when I ask about you. No, they won't say what I think I know. You met somebody closer to home. But I understand, 'cause I'm in love with the other side of the sea, and I think I'm staying here. Maybe someday you'll write back to me, 'cause I still wish you were here.
Now I feel guilty about popping in too soon. Well done, thank you. That was great. That was great. You can watch back later and see a comment that I posted while your eyes were closed.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, it was a good one. It was a nice one. Where did you train? What's your background and training?
So my background training performance-wise is mostly at Acadia University in Nova Scotia. I did a double major in theater performance and in sociology. And musically, I never really did any professional vocal training. I self-taught on guitar. I had some drum lessons when I was a teen. I sang in choir. I sang in cantatrice ensemble out of Fall River all the way through high school, which was such a treat and such a movement of personal growth for me and confidence with singing. That's about the extent of it. Perhaps I should do more.
Well, we never stop training, but life is training.
I did get some really excellent belt notes from Laura Caswell last summer.
Oh, good. That does totally count.
That as training.
Laura trains us all every day. Laura Caswell is our director of education at the Neptune Theatre School. She's on us all the time. I've been on stage with Laura, and she doesn't give me notes, but she's good. You recently did a streamed house concert, which looks a lot like what we're looking at right now from you, but it was you for an hour or so. What was that like? How did that come about?
It was incredible. I think so. It came about for me as a feeling that I'm in a couple of bands here in Toronto, and I was really starting to miss playing live and playing with people. But I feel like somewhere along the way over the past few years, and it sounds so ridiculous to say, because I'm on stage all the time in Kitchen Party, and I am in a couple of other folk musical and musical theater shows around here. It sounds ridiculous to say, but I somehow backed up on my confidence with being a solo performer. Right. So one of the challenges I set to myself during COVID times is that I was going to try to work on that, and I was going to try to get that back. And here in Toronto, I'm still a little new, so I don't really have too much of a community that I can bring to shows aside from some close friends. But the real value of doing an online concert was that I could actually invite, my loved ones and friends from all over the world and perform for a living room of the people that I care about the most in my life, which was phenomenal. It was amazing. Yeah.
I got to watch it, as you know, and I had a lovely afternoon. It was great. And it was actually really cool watching the other people watching as well, because was it Zoom? Was it Zoom? I can't remember now.
It was Zoom, and it was hosted through Side Door Access. So they're a platform that usually connects artists to audiences in physical space, and they've sort of shifted to bring that kind of connection online for artists during times when we can't meet in public. So the way that they had me set it up was really awesome, and it was sort of like you could see everybody who wanted to be seen, and you could see people kind of interacting with each other and interacting with the music and with me. So it was close to live. Nothing is ever exactly the same, but it was
and in this time right now, we're all trying to work out in the creative arts industry how to navigate this digital world and whether we should. This show is just a brief moment of entertainment, and we'll find other ways, I'm sure, to bring artists to the fore for our audience. But
Yeah, and my view on that is that we shouldn't be trying to replicate liveness in a digital sphere. What we should be doing, what I think you're doing, even by doing this show, is returning to the core of what art is for people, and the core of what theater does for people. And it's a way to tell stories and to connect and to bring people together. So if we return to sort of the main mission of our art forms, and then be willing to expand and stretch the form to suit the vast possibilities that we have in this space, then I think we can do really creative and unprecedented things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We have time for one more song. But before we do, because I'm going to actually let you play us out at the end of the song, stay exactly where you are. The end credits will roll, and then you and I will say goodbye off camera. But I just want to say that while you were singing your last song, my email pinged. I should have turned it off. And I looked, and unbeknownst to me, the Canadian Actors Equity Association today unanimously passed the following motion at a special meeting. They tasked the council officers to create a statement on behalf of the membership to condemn and advocate for the abolishment of as-caste practices. So Neptune deciding to do it,
wow.
It's great. But to be honest, it's going to be gone by the look of it. I'm yet to read the rest of the email. So actors and equity members, check your equity email and see what that's all about. But I think that's good. And I may not have to post the statement now tomorrow.
Maybe. Well, I mean, that's brilliant. That's just, I'm proud of us.
It's just one small step, but it's one thing done. What is your last song to play us out with, Malia Rogers?
My last song is called The Net, and I wrote it largely about my experience with Neptune Theatre and about the phrase "leap and the net will appear." And I felt like, getting this opportunity from Neptune at that time in my life was a marker and a mark, like a trade point of that. So, The Net.
Thank you. Before you hold that chord, I just wanted to thank. I have to, and I want to thank our sponsor and supporter. My computer has just jammed. There we go. Support for Culture, for their ongoing support of Off the Leash and Neptune Theatre and so many arts organizations around us. Thank you for your support. Thanks for being here, Malia, and
Thank you.
And I'll see everyone else later in the week. Take it away.
All right. Champagne on a concrete rooftop, sitting with our feet over the edge, drinking to our lovers back at home. The wanderers on Argyle Street at night, swaggering like pirates of the shore, tend to let us pass without much trouble anymore. And we spend our days in outer space and our nights in fitful sleep. But my mother always said to me, the night will come so long as you leap. Say, listen up, kid, if you're gonna survive, keep your little head up and find a way to drink up the joy alongside the pain. 'Cause you never know when it's gonna rain again. So we chase the money, so often there's no other choice. The title's never yours to keep, but I hear it in my mother's voice. The night will come, so long as you leap. And you wanna do good, and you wanna work hard, and you wanna change a life. From the minute I met you, you've been changing mine, changing mine. And we call it funny, 'cause so often there's no other words. Just looking out at that great sea. But who knows what awaits on other shores? The night will come, so long as you leave.